Good morning or afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen. No matter what part of the world you are, I greet you. My name is Emelia Orubele, and I'm your host for this wonderful and very exciting talk we're going to have today. It's going to be, it actually might turn out to be a debate. I don't think so. It'll be very informative, and we welcome all of you to pay very close attention. We have an honorable member in the House with us today, and this is Honorable Otunba-Deji Thanni Olodo. And he is from Ikorodu town, and he currently resides in Surulere local government areas of Lagos State. And he has a political science degree from Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana in the USA. So that's why he is a political consultant. And obviously, as you may already gather, this talk will be about politics and many other things. Mr. Otunba-Deji Thanni is currently a director of the business development with Atlantic Executive Resources in Atlanta, Georgia. And he was an aspirant in 2007 for the House of Reps. Wow, that's impressive. We want to know if he won or not later. He was also the founding member of the Echo Club here in Atlanta. And it's a very powerful group here in Atlanta. I don't know if any of you that are listening reside in Atlanta, but Echo Club is a force to be reckoned with. It's a wonderful group. In fact, they do so many medical missions, and I understand he just came from one. But between the years of 2000, 2010 to 2014, under his leadership, they have seen over 23,000 patients in this medical mission. So, and ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on and on about this very interesting young man we're about to hear today on political climate here that's going on in Nigeria. So help me welcome, please, Otunba-Deji Thanni Olodo. Thank you so much. You're very welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me, Ms. Emelia. Thanks for audience. Thank you.
Very good. My question to you is,
Yes.
the current political situation, the current political climate now in Nigeria has lots of challenges, ups and downs. We're very interested, since we know that you go back and forth. You're diasporan, but yet you're Nigerian, always in Nigeria, and always in America.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts and your feelings about our current political climate here? What's going on?
Well, thank you, Ms. Amelia. I want to take this opportunity to thank the audience for allowing me to give my take on this political situation in Nigeria. One of the things that, before I even go further, I want to tell the parents of the missing girls in Chibok that our prayers goes to them. Well, they will be found alive. I know the security personnel in Nigeria are doing all humanly possible to make sure that they are being brought alive. And that is the hope of us as a parent, as loved ones, that we don't want none of them to come in pieces. Having said that, Ms. Amelia, I want to say this to you, that Nigeria in general, we're a blessed nation. We're blessed in terms of human capacity. We're blessed in terms of resources, natural resources. But the problem that we always encounter as a nation is the leadership and the managerial skills that we don't have. And that has been the bone of contention when we see things are not working the way it's supposed to work. So I'll get into that, and I think maybe when we go into some specific area that I'll be able to elaborate and then give you my take on some of these issues.
Okay, you did mention that one of the main problems you see is lack of managerial skills.
Right.
And that's very interesting that you say that, because right now we know that most people that are in power are either there based on who they know, not
Right.
so much that they're qualified for the position.
Right.
So with that in mind, what other things are we doing wrong? And what are we doing right? I'm sure there's something we might be doing right, but what are we doing wrong?
Well, what we're doing, let me give you one major thing that where we're getting wrong is the aspect of the nominations of ministerial position. And we all know that when the presidency submit names of potential ministers, names are being submitted to the National Assembly, which the Constitution empowers the Senate to confirm whoever is going to be the prospect ministers. And we find out that if 36 list of ministerial posts are being sent to the Senate, none of them are being given a portfolio, in terms of knowing exactly what they're going to be doing so that they could base their questions on see whether this person is capable of managing or qualified for that position or not. So there is like a haywire, it's like all comers affairs when it gets to the National Assembly. It's now when they've been approved to be confirmed, is now we will now find out that this person is the Minister for Health, the Minister for Defense, Minister of this, and you now find out that the shoe doesn't fit in most of the instances. So so that's one of the bane of contention in terms of the managerial state. So we cannot put the right person with the right position. That has also been one of the major problems. Hopefully, maybe one day as time goes on, as we perfect democracy, we might see those changes in order to ally those people that we want them to take control of all this ministry of parastatals that we have in Nigeria to see how effective they could do for us as a nation.
Wonderful. What do you think we're doing right? Is there anything we're doing right?
Definitely I always tell people when, like you rightfully said, we just came from a medical mission, which we were there for 2 weeks in Lagos State. What I found out is that most of us that tends to do the thing that is right. Like people tell me, well, DG, you did XYZ right. But you did. I always tell them, please tell me what I've done wrong so I could correct what we've done. We've done a lot of things right. I think Nigeria, in general, we are good people. Just like the theme of the last Minister for Information, Dora Akinle, bless her heart, she just passed away.
Yes,
we want to send a condolence to our family. And the theme, it says, good people, good nation. That's the theme of Nigeria. So in general, we're good people. But as a whole, as a society, we're looking for leadership, people that will make us believe in them. And so we've not been getting that leadership that we be yearning for as a people in general. But also Nigerians in general, we are hardworking people in terms of wants to work hard. But again, we don't have that same leadership that would, teach us how to lead, that we could follow. So we do things right in terms of in our own cultural behavior. For example, I'm a Yoruba guy, and I know as a Yoruba person, we're very apologetic in everything we do and little things we say. So in terms of what do we do right, we're very compassionate. We're very, I could say, welcoming in general. Yes. So those are some pluses that we have as a people.
Right. In fact, I think Nigerians are known to be the friendliest and the happiest people in the world. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Despite all of our challenges that we have back home.
Yeah.
Do you have any political aspirations, by the way?
Well, no, not really. I ran in 2007, just like your introduction about myself. And one thing, some challenges I realized when I ran in 2007 was the fact that in Nigeria, people tend to have a different sentiment when you come from abroad. In 2007, I ran for the House of Rep, and I lost during the primary with about 2,000 votes. And in 2011, 4 years later, I wanted to give it another chance, but I decided that, well, from now on, I'm going to be more or less in an advisory role rather than in the front. But not really, I don't have any political agenda, but just to give advice to whoever needs their advice from.
Okay, then with that in mind, what type of advice would you give to our current president? He has a 7-point agenda. How many point agendas do you have? Say if you were the president of Nigeria,
Yeah.
how many point agenda do you have?
Oh well, I mean, it would be a good dream to become a leader of one of the biggest nation in the world, black nation in the world, over 170 million people. I think the first thing I would do, Amelia, is I will have
Six of them.
six of them,
Okay.
and I'll list them in terms of priority.
Okay, very good. So where I want this train of thought to go to is now you're going to be speaking on these 6, 7 point agendas as an advisor to our current president.
Right.
What, just taking into consideration the current situation that we're in
Right.
each of your agendas.
Right.
So let's hear the first one.
Well, I think the first one is health.
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 Okay.
There's a saying, health is wealth.
Good. So what's your advice, taking into consideration again the current status of our healthcare, our healthcare situation? Number one, we are worst in the world in healthcare. Yes, the number one worst in the world in healthcare. We are second in the highest in infant mortality and maternal death. So, speaking now, putting on the shoe as an advisor to our current president, what can you advise him in the area of healthcare then?
Well, definitely, just like you just alluded in terms of the statistics, in terms of the alarming statistics you just brought to us, I think the first thing that is reorientation of our people itself, because they say prevention is better than cure. Just like I said, the government can do so many things, but it can always guide you. It's also embedded upon you in terms of your habit, how we live day to day. In terms of the health factor, I'll say the awareness of our surroundings in terms of the cleanliness starts from there. The habit, the way we eat, in terms of how we go out to mama puts and so on to eat, is the area conducive enough to eat.
Yes.
Just for example, I was in Nigeria about 2-3 weeks ago in Lagos, to be precise, and I saw a lady that selling a bean cake, akara, just by the roadside. And while she's selling a bean cake, 10 feet away from where she's selling bean cake, there's a construction.
Wow.
Where there's a mount load of dust
Blowing into our akara.
blow into the akara.
To make it taste better. That's the
Well,
seasoning.
that's a disaster for.
That's
a recipe for the.
That's that salty part we taste.
Right. That's a recipe for the disaster. So you see, once we have a government that is proactive and creating awareness
and
education,
yes.
and say, look, this thing you are doing is health hazard, which they could create Ministry of Health that has inspection.
Yes.
Where people that are going to sell food items to the public are being having to go through to be licensed, or go to certain kind of degree of what is norm. Correct. For you to sell such food production to the masses. So I'll start from that. Having an enforcement in terms of having now food inspector to go around in terms of reducing the mortality.
Yes.
Because with kids, they put everything in their mouth. Right. So I'll probably start from that area.
Good. What's your second point, agenda?
Well, my second point would be agriculture.
Agriculture. What's your advice to the president?
Well, agriculture, is just like in the United States. I know you've been here for quite a while, just like me. If I say Florida, if I say what's Florida known in agriculture, oranges.
Yes.
If I say Idaho, potatoes.
Correct.
If I say California, you might say tangerine or oranges.
Right.
So I think the first thing, and I think looking at the new governor of Anambra State that just took off from Peter Obi, I think he's doing the right thing. He's just been in the office for 3 months.
And what is he doing?
Well, he's doing in terms of agriculture. He's all the way into agriculture.
Okay.
And what he has done is to empower small-scale farmers.
Okay.
In terms of mechanizing farming, buying equipment and leasing this equipment to these small-scale farmers. Okay. Which they are targeting yams, banana, palm kernels. Okay. So I'm thinking in the next 6-7 months, we would tend to see the harvest that was. So I will try to subscribe to what the governor of Anambra State, the current
Getting the agriculture mechanized.
mechanized,
Yes,
and then the
mechanized.
government, creating that enabled environment
Yes.
to help the small scale farmers
That is
too.
excellent.
Right. So I
And
think
that
that
way the food can be produced in abundance. To
exactly
the point where we can even export, not where we are importing most of our food.
right.
You see.
Right, right.
Excellent.
So that's how that would
That's
be
your
a
second
template.
one.
My
What third one?
the third one, as we all know, is security.
Security. Okay.
Okay, and there's a very alarming rate in our country. There's insecurity anywhere. If you drive a Mercedes Benz, a G wagon,
Yes.
I could tell you a story. I was at Ikoyi Club about doing this medical mission, and I happened to talk to a friend of mine who owns a luxurious car. And we were at the Ikoyi Club till like 6 o'clock in the evening. And he said, well, DG, I'm ready to go home. I said, man, we just got here 20 minutes. He said, no, because the type of a vehicle I brought to Ikoyi Club, so I have to leave. And I said to myself, if you can enjoy what you've worked for, then
Right.
what's the essence of
Purchasing it.
it?
Yes.
So he made me aware of the insecurity in the country
Wow.
in terms of vehicle being snatched at a
Wow.
gunpoint,
Armed robbery.
armed robbery, kidnapping,
Oh
and
my.
so on and so forth. So the security aspect is that also the security cannot not be left only to the police. Security is everybody's business. Okay, you know who lives in your area. If you have foreign elements in your area,
Yes.
there's a number you could call or call the police and say, look, this guy, we don't like the way he's been doing in our neighborhood. And the police, they will do what they have been asked to do. So, so security has been a very challenging thing because of not creating awareness and thinking the government is the only one that does, but not knowing that
Yes.
security
So
is
that
everywhere.
the public can also be held accountable
for security.
and
So
be
security is everybody's,
responsible.
right.
Okay, we're going to the fourth one.
The fourth one will be transportation.
Transportation.
Well, I'm
okay.
from Lagos, and like I said, there are 4 major areas that transportation can be improved tremendously. 1, the rail system. 2, the air link through the airlines.
Yes.
Then the waterways, where you have boats and canals that you could transport people. And then the one that is 90% being used in Nigeria, which is the land. The land transport.
cars.
And so if we could reduce these congestion of transportation on the land and then be divide them into the rail. About 2 weeks ago, the vice president of the country, just launched a luxurious rail system
Yes.
in Lagos, okay, which will also reduce the number of commuting from Ido to Ikeja, from Ikeja to Alta. So all this will help to elevate the suffering of the masses if they concentrate on this. So waterways, the airways, the land, which we all know about, and then the rail system. I think these are big areas that we will need to concentrate our
So
effort.
to at least make transportation a lot more efficient.
Right.
And not as crowded
Right.
as we are on the ground.
Right.
And okay, number 5. Or was that number 5?
Number
That
5
was
will,
number
number 5 will be
yes.
power sector.
Power. Okay.
Okay, because power creates employment. If you go to the salon
And the growth of business.
and the growth of
economy grows,
and the growth of business, because while I was in Nigeria for just 2 weeks, Emelia, I could tell you on a daily basis, I spent 2,000 naira on a daily basis to diesel, to put in my diesel to power energy into my house. So if we do the arithmetic, I'm only there for 14 days, and I'm spending $2,000 a day. So I spend in the neighborhood almost 30,000 naira for those 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I stay in Nigeria for 30 days, so I'll spend just on diesel over
alone.
60,000 alone. So the economic effect, not having constant supply of electricity, also drains the economy of the country.
That's why you have so many plants that have closed down.
Right.
Therefore, we don't
They've
have
moved out.
employment.
They've moved out of the state,
Yes.
moved to other neighboring countries.
Well, they actually, they closed down completely.
Well, most of them moved to Ghana.
Oh, okay.
Right. Most of them moved
Which
to
is
Ghana,
sad.
which is sad. The employment that we're supposed to be creating, we're creating employment
Yes, and wealth
and
in a
wealth
different
for
country,
the
in
different
another
countries.
country
So
altogether.
power sector will be something that
Yeah.
we need to expansion
Well,
more.
I'm hoping that that will change soon because now the power section is privatized,
Right.
and we're encouraging different companies now to take over. Hopefully that'll change because we got
Well, let me interject one or two things on that in terms of being prioritized. I think there was rush to judgment on that
okay.
because now there's more. We are more in darkness
Okay.
than when before, because now where I live in Sule area. We have what we called charge card system. Okay, which is good, meaning what you use is what you're being charged. Unlike before, the mentality of Nigerians is that they have people who will leave their house at 6 a.m. in the morning, turn their air conditioner on from 6, coming home at 6 in the evening,
And it's still on.
and stay on because they feel like they want the house to be cold.
Yeah, so
Can
they
they do
didn't
that
have
for
to
you?
pay for it.
Well, because they know they weren't going to pay
Right.
for it. So, but this new efficiency that, hey, by buying 20,000 naira worth of card, common sense will tell you that, hey, if I leave my air conditioner overnight, I might not have light.
In the morning.
So there has to be awareness of saying, you know what, I need to be light conscious, turn lights that are not being used, and so on. So I think in the area of the new privatization of the power sector, is that they're talking about shortage of gas through the NNPC.
Okay.
And then the NNPC now say, well, we got vandalized by neighboring community leaders because they're trying to save. So you always have one excuse or the other for why we shouldn't get the
But
thing.
power generation is being privatized, so it's
Oh,
not
definitely,
within just
right,
one group.
right.
But I understand that power is a lot more constant now in Nigeria. You were just there. Has it gotten worse?
No, it has. I mean, I can only talk about where I reside at.
Yeah.
In Sule, it's worse.
It's worse.
Yeah, because
Not better.
not better because. But when you go to the PHCN place or whoever is in charge of
PHCN, yeah.
PHCN, they tell you, oh well, we're working on it, or there's a transformer that broke down. So
And that's why it's being privatized. I suppose they're encouraging and asking different power generation and distribution
Right.
companies into the country.
hopefully, I hope we get it right.
I think we are.
Maybe next.
I'm
so,
being hopeful.
right.
Trying to be optimistic.
And I want to also be optimistic.
And your sixth one, you don't have a 7.1, but
No,
you have a
education.
6.1. Education.
Education is the key
Yes.
because there's always a saying. I'll give you a story that somebody told me that you think education is expensive. They said try ignorant. There was a story that went this way. There was a lady at one of the hospital in Los Angeles, and they found out that at given time of the day, there's always a death at 3 p.m.
It does.
A death at this hospital, this particular hospital.
Really?
And so what they were wondering is that why is it that at 3 p.m. there's always death? So they now realize the FBI came in to figure out what is going on. They realized that the lady that does the cleaning of this particular room, when she comes in, she unplugs the air machine, the ventilation,
The ventilation.
and then she will now plug a vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
So now tell me if education, if she was educated and trained properly, there won't be lost or death. So that's why I'm saying education is always a
That is
knowledge.
amazing.
And knowledge is power, and you can never take things away that you have. So education will be something that it has to be free to the secondary level. I believe that from the nursery to the primary and to the secondary, education ought to be free
Yes.
to everybody. Now, when you go to tertiary
The colleges.
colleges and stuff like that, that is not a choice. Okay, now you say, okay, then I think also the government should also create a vocational schools,
Correct.
because all of us can go to universities.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
in this country, you have people who goes to vocational school
Yeah,
just to study
technical schools. Yes.
just to study air conditioning, or go to vocational school just to study camera, how to repair camera or video, and so. So we need to start creating schools that we elevate unemployment and create jobs.
Correct.
All of us can be a professor,
Yes.
and these are things that we can use as a society in general that we use on a daily basis. So a vocational school would be something that I think the government need to look into how they could create jobs and create awareness.
Very good. Well, you know, as it relates to our Nigerian political climate, we can go on and on and on. And I know you say you're more of a political advisor. Any more advice that you have? That anything that could help? Hopefully, somebody in the political world that's in power in Nigeria is actually listening and can extract some advice, some important things out of your advice.
Right.
We are, in my opinion, at a crossroad. I mean, with the Boko Haram issues, the unemployment situation, the housing infrastructure, power, education, everything that you've named.
Right.
We still have yet to get it right, and it's unfortunate that a country with over 160, 180 million people, so many riches, natural resources, we're oil country, I think fourth largest supplier in the world, and we're still considered to be a third world country. Can you believe that?
Right.
What advice would you have to maybe, hopefully, somebody in power is listening to this and can heed your advice to help us not, to come out of this rut, of this crossroad in every aspect, in every arena.
Right.
From being a third world country, maybe we can graduate to a second world country, eventually to a first world country, because we have everything that it takes to be no different from the United States. But again, like you said, apart from the fact that yes, we do hold the grassroots or what have you, we should be held some accountability. But again, the development of any country is in their political their political strength, their leaders. What's your advice? Let's say that Goodluck Jonathan is listening, all the ministers are listening, all the governors are listening. So what advice do you have to get us out of this rut?
Well, thank you, Emelia. And let me use the current situation in our country, which is the Chibok girls.
Yes.
We can never shy away from that, because we don't even know where they are. Some people say they're in the bushes. Some people say they've been divided, and so on and so forth. So let's take that current issue. Now, 3 weeks when these girls were adopted, I won't call it kidnapped.
All right.
The leader of the Boko Haram came and showed the entire world that, hey, we have your girls, and that the only thing we can do is to swap prisoners.
Yes.
We are ready to release your girls and release some of our prisoners. Now, who are the prisoners they're asking for? Let me also inform you, my dear sister, that in Nigeria is a country that you don't want to commit a crime. That if you commit a crime, God forbid, tomorrow, and they can't find you, in terms of their investigation in Nigeria, they will arrest your mama, they arrest your father, they arrest your neighbors, they will arrest people that they think has one way or the other to do with your malaise. Now, what this so-called Boko Haram are asking for is that, look, we will give you these girls and release it to them. Release to you. Release innocent people that you have locked up that has nothing to do with Boko Haram, but just the fact they are just a family members. Are they asking too much? So my thing is...
hold that thought.
Right.
Are you sure about what you're saying? Because from my reading and understanding, they wanted their leader released. Not so much the prisoners or what have you, but their leaders.
Well, Emelia, when they first caught... You see, I'm a historian by knowledge.
Okay.
When this Boko Haram menace started, the first Boko Haram leader was captured. And when he was captured, he was put behind the back of a truck, an Hilux truck. And they paraded this guy in the entirety of Maiduguri, in the neighborhood of Maiduguri,
Borno State and all
in Borno State, showing the entire world that we've captured their leader. Now, what did they do to their leader? The leader was now released and got shot and got killed.
Okay.
So it's not about their leader in detention. They are
So there was another leader that they actually.
they all of
and all the other Boko Haram members.
right. And you see the government, they are trying to be very diplomatic.
Yes.
You know, it's easy for me to say, don't negotiate with the terrorists because my daughter is not there. My son is not there. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know where they shoot. You know, it's paining you. What I'm saying is that there should be that amnesty type of consultation in the name of peace. Because if there's no peace, there can never be development. I never seen where there's ram call or the satisfaction of the masses, then there could be development. So if these people say, okay, we want to talk to you. Okay, what is your plight? Why are we fighting? They talked about the one that prisoners to be released, just like I just said, some of their family members that has nothing to do with the killing are in jail.
How do you know that?
Good,
How do you
because
know that some of their, and they're not some of the members of the Boko Haram?
Because some of the so-called negotiators that came from the northeast part of Nigeria, and lately we now find out that the past president Obasanjo, because he's right, you know, he's even talking.
Yes, sure.
He said, but the government is putting a lot of frustration in the process of releasing these girls.
Yeah.
So they said there are 3 people in the custody of Nigerian security service.
3 of the Boko Haram people?
There are 3 sets of different people that are being detained.
Okay.
1, they are the Boko Haram members.
Okay.
2, they are actual Boko Haram family members.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, oh, you just produced a bad child, and your bad child, you should have taught him a lesson, so therefore you're going to be paying for his punishment. And then the 3rd one is the sympathizers
of Boko Haram.
Of Boko Haram. So if they now see that you have a sympathy, then they will ask you, you know, to be interrogated and be like. So my thing is that, look, we need to negotiate, we need to talk, because those over 200 girls, they are their tender age in life.
Yes, but you know, I think it's a being stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's a catch-22, just like this situation that happened with the U.S. Is it Berg Hall that was just released? One of the U.S. Army people with with the what is it? The people. He was a prisoner for about 5 years in
POW.
Yes, with Afghanistan or what have you, that had to have been released in exchange. Now there's mixed feelings because these people that they released were terrorists. Nothing stops them from going back with their group and continue. But remember, Boko Haram had been doing committing all these atrocities even before the kidnapping. So even if I'm thinking, my personal thoughts are, even if they release their leaders and release their whoever's and whoever's, I don't think the atrocities and animosities will stop there. Yes, we can bring the girls back, but I totally, I think that the worst is yet to come. There has to be other negotiating carrots, other than releasing those that were a part in any, whether directly or indirectly, of these, with these Boko Haram that were committing these atrocities even before and still continuing.
Right. Well, Emelia,
and that was the U.S.'s concern, that these are people committing these atrocities. What guarantees that even now that they're released, they won't join up with their people and still do work?
Well, look, Emelia, and you're right in a perfect world. You see, me and you could be Monday morning quarterbacking, telling the government this is what they should do, this is what they shouldn't do, because we're not directly affected or we don't have information. What is the yearning of the Boko Haram? Boko Haram means against Western education.
Education, correct.
Right? Look, they said they want to use Sharia. Sharia is in our constitution. It's in the Nigerian constitution. If you go to the northern part of Nigeria, there are certain states like Zamfara, Gombe, all these northern east of Nigeria, that they practice Sharia.
Yes, but Otunba, with all due respect, whether Sharia is there or not, does that mean that you go and do suicide bomb? Is suicide bomb in the
No,
Constitution where you go and take innocent lives? Look what's going on with in Jos
no,
and all these other places.
my dear sister,
Yeah.
I'm not asking, saying what the Boko Haram is doing is the right way. That's evil. And before they wanted to hide under the Islamic law. No, Islam doesn't preach hatred. Islam preaches peace.
Correct.
Okay? Salamu alaikum in Islam means peace be unto you.
Correct.
And then you respond, wa alaikum salam. That's what the teaching of Islam is. So initially they wanted to hide under the pretext of Islam, and until the clerics now said, no. This is not what Islam is all about. But again, they have a different agenda.
Correct.
If we look
That's
at it.
the point.
But to me, I'm not saying the Boko Haram, but at least let's open a window of opportunity to engage and talk to these people, so that our girls could be brought back home.
Yes. Open up the window, but I believe open up that window of negotiation and conversation.
Right.
But look for experts that are negotiating experts to do that conversation, so that they can negotiate things other than just releasing those that are still committing these atrocities.
Right.
You see.
Well, I mean, and you're right, and we just need to continue praying for them, and hopefully that this saga that we're going through in our country will cease to exist. That's my prayer, and I pray that the president, in his infinity way, will find ways to resolve this issue with these Chibok girls. So that's just my belief, that they'll come home in peace.
Yes, we don't want them to, and this is a delicate situation. We don't want a situation where we aggravate these people, because anybody that's saying that, oh, Allah told me to do this, they're psychologically incapacitated. They're actually psychotic.
Right.
And you don't deal with them as they would deal with normal people.
Right.
And that's why you can't really aggravate them or intimidate them to where they would want to have any one of these girls an example, like this is what we'll do if you keep intimidating us. So I'm hoping and we're praying that the government is handling this as delicately as possible, so all the girls can come home. Because we've heard people to say, oh, I'll go in the bushes, I'll get the armies and start shooting, but that's really causing an intimidation that could be to the disadvantage of those young girls. So lastly then, let's hear your advice. Well, keep any more current things going on that we should know that's going on?
Well, the current situation is the political juggernaut that's going on in the country between PDP and APC.
Yes.
And I always say this, APC and PDP, they're the same. It's just like having a wine put in a different bottle with a different label, but it's still the same wine. So, and I think
red wine or white wine.
It's still the same. So, in terms of ideology, there's no difference in terms of their beliefs. But no, I think it's also good for democracy where you have a strong opposition that could challenge the majority.
Absolutely.
Because in political science, we always say the majority always have their way, the minority just have their say. So that is always a template for democracy. So in terms of the terrain, because everything we are looking at is all about 2015.
That's
Emelia.
right. That's right.
Because who's going to be the president of Nigeria? And I think that is what all these insecurity, these strikes and things that is going on is all about 2015.
Do you think this would be a bloody election?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
You don't think it'll be violent?
No, I don't think so, and I pray not, because I know God has a way of doing things, and I think as time goes on, things will be sorted out. And I think every nation, that has developed, has went one way or the other through all this Ramkoff instability and so on. And I think this is our way of going through those processes. And I think and I pray that it will be, no soul has been lost during this 2015 election.
Okay, your final advice to our president.
Well, what I advise our president is to be focused, is to be prayerful, is to make God as one of his main targets, not listen to so-called bishop, not listen to so-called pastor, because he himself can go to God and talk to God for what he wants. Because for those bishops or pastors, for their own selfish reason, they will give him wrong advice. So he needs to be very aware that it's only him and him alone that can go to God. At this point, because, and I always say something, I don't let people touch my head and say they want to pray for me. Because if I say God is my father, I should be able to go to my father and tell God what I want. It's just like you when you were a little kid telling me to go and ask your father that you want ice cream. What do you think your father's going to ask you? Say, well,
tell her to ask me
yeah. So, and I think that should be those attitudes. And then to the so-called religious people, they need to tone down what God didn't ask them to be told to the masses.
Yes. They mustn't use our situation as a plot for their own gain. Selfish gains.
Right. Yes. So again, the president needs to put God first. He needs to reverence God more than ever. And I think his name will propel him, because his name says good luck. And good luck and mercy shall follow us in Nigeria. So that's my belief, and I believe that Nigeria is bound to be great, a great nation, great people, and good government.
Yes. Just like you said, Nigeria, with the human capacity, human resources, we really can't go wrong. We just need to continue to encourage our leaders. We need to pray for our leaders, and we need to also support our leaders. Being negative, denouncing, and not even having patriotic responsibility towards our country is not going to help Nigeria at all. But we're hoping that we'll have the right political leaders in place, those that are qualified, as you had said.
Right.
And hopefully all of our agendas can be met. Have the agriculture will increase, where we don't have to be importing food in. We can be exporters, where our transportation system will sort of alleviate the crowdedness we have. Security, where you can buy your G-Wagons, the one you're going to buy me, right? Oh, yeah. When I get to Lagos, I'll go drive it. Our power hopefully will become constant, where now companies, manufacturing plants can stay open, can create jobs now, which can increase our economic development, and our health care. Hopefully our report card will be better once our health care is faced, where we will get off of this report card of being the worst in the health care in the world, which is very embarrassing, and the highest in infant mortality and maternal death. And of course, education, where there's no more striking. People are properly trained in so many different arenas. So, Otunba-Deji Thanni Olodo, we thank you so much for educating us today, for giving us the current information on Nigeria, our current climate. And we wish to invite you back again. Every time you go back home, like you have, you need to come back and bring us more current affairs. And we want to thank you for all the medical mission, 23,000.
Right.
And that's very commendable. So go ahead and give a shout out. Any last things you want to say to the fellow Nigerians that are watching?
Well, fellow Nigerians, I want to take this opportunity to thank each one of us because Nigeria is the only country that we all have. There's no other nation. I know that all these political uncertainty that's going on in our country is for a reason. And I believe there's going to be growth, there's going to be development, and we're going to be a powerful nation. I pray that, that God in his infinite mercy will have mercy upon us as a nation, and to see that the goodness of us radiates into the entire world. So on behalf of us as a Nigerian, I want to thank you, Ms. Emelia, for giving me this opportunity to speak candidly without any reservation or so on. So, and I hope and I pray that, and I'll honor your invitation, and that I'll be glad to come back and we could talk more.
Give us
updates on what's going on. So thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
And we thank you all for watching us, and have a very wonderful night. We thank you, and And feel free to call in if you had any questions, if you have any comments, any advice. Let's talk this out. Let's not act it out in a negative way. Once again, my name is Emelia Orubele, and I thank you for listening today.